Okay. This is the little bit extra that YouTube gets. I gotta plug in my shit. I don't have Brady to do that today. All right. All right, here we go. Let me get this train rolling. I got the headphones in, so I know what I sound like. Let's get Audacity moving. And we are starting the show. We got a bit of a solo show, a solo dolo show, on account of an emergency that happened yesterday. Literally right as we start recording, a message from my lovely girlfriend who says, bad accident. And I say, with you involved? And she says, yes. And yeah, she got hit doing a delivering some nips. Totaled the car, but she walked away from it and is in tremendous shape. So we are mourning the loss of her car, but we're glad that she's okay. Unfortunately, Skylar and Brady are busy right now, but I felt the need to do episode 20 one way or another. So here we are. And we're going to talk about some of the top headlines in sports. And we actually had a big one this week, if I'm looking at my feed. Jamal Adams to Seattle in a huge deal. Obviously, Jamal Adams has had a big issue with Jets management, specifically like their owner and their coach, Adam Gase. He's not been a fan. He's been wanting, hey, get me out of here. So the official specifics of the deal, and we had talked about this as being a possibility with teams that really don't care about their first round picks anyway. The Jets dealt Jamal Adams and a 2022 fourth round pick to Seattle. In exchange, they get Bradley McDougald, the safety, first round pick in 2021, third round pick in 2021, and a first round pick in 2022. Of course, the deal is pending via physicals and everything else, but I think that this is a tremendous move. It shows you you're getting it's like the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade that I was talking about with the Steelers when they traded their first round pick this year for 2020, and they landed Minkah Fitzpatrick. That's a first round talent. You know what you're getting there, and you're getting the picks worth. Whereas in the draft, everybody knows it's a crapshoot. You're getting an established talent in Jamal Adams if you're Seattle. Whereas you're sending two big question marks that are likely going to be late 20s picks anyway. Seattle is not a team that's going to be out of the playoff discussion anytime soon. So I think that's a wonderful trade. That's a guy you put right up there on that secondary, and he's a safety that you can build around, and that they're in need of some safeties. I mean, Cam and Earl are, they've both been gone. So you need a real, true Pro Bowl caliber safety on that secondary, and I think you've got a really, really good one there on that defense that is just looking better and better, and it helps alleviate the idea that Jadeveon Clowney might not actually be back. So really, really something there. Really cool piece of news there today. Other news that we've had that's pretty awesome. Actually, before I do that, there's a nice little stat here. Players Adam Gase has forced out as head coach: Jay Ajayi, Jarvis Landry, Damian Williams, Jamal Adams. Guys who improved away from Gase: Williams, Ryan Tannehill, Devontae Parker, Kenyon Drake, Mike Gesicki. The lists go on. Stay tuned. I mean, facts are facts. I mean, am I the only one that was surprised that Adam Gase got another deal, like got another head coaching gig? I didn't think he was all that remarkable as Miami's head coach. So when I see him jump over and he's the Jets coach all of a sudden, and you've got this young kid and Sam Darnold, I get he was some kind of a quarterback guy, some kind of a quarterback guru, but I think we've seen flashes of Sam Darnold, playing very well. Obviously, he was out with mono most of the season, or they had like 4 weeks last year, but nothing spectacular. Nothing like the potential we saw in like Baker Mayfield's first year. Nothing like we've seen out of guys like Lamar Jackson, uh, Josh Allen. Even, I mean, Darnold is looking like the number 4 quarterback of this class, with the only guy he's leaping out of those 5 from the 2018 class being Josh Rosen, which isn't hard. So I'm not understanding. I guess I really haven't understood the hype with Adam Gase. So it not a surprise to me. He seems to piss people off, and he seems to chase away the most talented players. No matter where he's at, whether he's Don in Aqua or he's Don in the green. So that just goes to show it right there. Moving away from football for a moment, I would like to congratulate, or at least celebrate, the dawn of a new era of hockey in Seattle. The Seattle Kraken have been officially announced. Obviously, NHL in Seattle has been a thing brewing for quite some time, at least the last year and a half. Last year and a half or so, it kind of became official. Hey, Seattle's getting an NHL franchise. And here we are. We've got the Seattle Kraken, and they're going to start play next season, 2021. And if you check out their colors and stuff, they're pretty cool. We got about 4 different shades of blue in there: some ice blue, some dark blue, a little bit of red. Not quite the blue and green kind of scheme that people were thinking they were going to go with. Obviously, I guess that makes sense if you're kind of going with something more marine, more aqua, but it's different for Seattle. I mean, Seattle, you look at like the Seahawks and the Mariners. Sonics had green, and the Seahawks obviously blue and green. Mariners kind of had that. They have like a greenish tealish with their blue. I think the Kraken, it's more the same, but it's something different too. And I'm ready. I'm ready to see how they do in the draft, and I'm ready for this to be what really gets me into hockey. I think hockey is a sport that I've been interested in, but it's not one I've really sat down and focused on. And I think a big part of that is that we don't really get a lot of hockey in the area because we don't have a team. We get a lot of minor league chatter, with the Winterhawks and all that, but we don't get a ton of hockey games on. Maybe the Stanley Cup is on ESPN or something, but I haven't watched TV on like a non-streaming service in 5 years. So I couldn't even tell you, but that's this generation, this whole generation. We're kind of just a generation of cord cutters. It's hard to meet people my age. I'm 25. It's hard to meet people my age that have cable plans unless they got it in some sort of bundle with internet. Landlines are a thing of the past too. I have a buddy. I have a buddy who had a cable plan, and he was like, 30 days done. Like, because it's not a thing that we do anymore. So, but I will hopefully be taking a look at this Seattle stuff with the Kraken, the NHL. I'm ready to really enjoy some hockey, and you better believe I'm going to cop a jersey and start paying attention to some games. So let's see. Let's take a look. Oh, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is making his return to the fight game, and I'm really excited. I believe if I look at his record, I believe his last fight was back in 2005, but by then nobody cared. Nobody wanted to see a Mike Tyson fight anymore. I think he had that big title versus title thing with Lennox Lewis in 2002 that kind of was a bust. Yeah, 2005. Kevin McBride, June 11, 2005. He hasn't fought in 15 years. The man is, I believe, 54 years old as of June 30th, and he will be fighting for the first time since 2005 in September. But we've talked about this on the show. There's been video of him training, all these montages. This guy has gotten himself into just a killer shape. And he's going to be taking on Roy Jones Jr. And I believe that's going to be in September 27th. It's September 12th. September 12th exhibition match, Mike Tyson faced Roy Jones Jr. I'm ready. Apparently, the undercard is going to feature Jake Paul taking on former NBA player Nate Robinson, which Nate spent about 6 months wearing the Golden State colors. So I mean, I'm going to root for him anyway because who cares about Jake Paul? But um, no, the big thing, Mike Tyson coming back, and this is the thing. By the end of his fight career, nobody cared. Nobody wanted to really see this guy fight anymore. He wasn't the phenomenon that he was in the 80s. He wasn't biting ears like he was in the 90s, where I mean, while it's obviously frowned upon and it's a dirty way to fight, it kept eyes on boxing. And if that makes any sense, nobody cared about Tyson, an old 38-year-old Tyson in '05. And yet throughout the last 15 years, I mean, like when he came back and he was doing movies, he did the documentary about him and the pigeons. He did the movies like The Hangover, and he kind of became like a comedy darling again, and kind of that, you never know where he's going to pop up. And he really kind of ingratiated himself to the spotlight again, and the general, people generally go, oh, Mike Tyson, that guy's funny. He got a cartoon and all this other stuff. And now at age 54, people are as hyped up to see this guy get in the ring as they would have been, 25 years ago. I think it's really something. I think right now, in an era where sports are just kind of starting to come back, and UFC's doing the Fight Island stuff and here and there, but boxing's really been a big question mark. I think we really haven't had a boxing match that everybody's gone, I have to see that, since Mayweather McGregor, which was a cross promotion thing. Before that, it was Mayweather Pacquiao. I'm just excited that there's buzz for a boxing match that it's not going to be Mayweather. It's not going to, I mean, not that Mayweather's not a good fighter. He's tremendous, but it's not going to be a defense fest. I mean, you got 50-year-old Tyson, arguably the most dangerous hitter in boxing, who's gonna step into the ring, at least one more time. I don't know. I mean, if he wins, does he stick around for a couple more fights? It's tough to say. I'm excited though. I'm more than excited to see what this guy can do. Skylar's in the chat talking about the undercard. And yeah, we are going to get back at it next week. Next week's going to be an interesting show. It's going to be early. We're going to be doing it at 11 Pacific instead of 1, because we got to watch those Blazers. We got to watch the Blazers take on the Memphis Grizzlies, which that's a game that could set the tone for that whole 8-game regulation that we have left. Obviously, John Morant's really been busting his ass, but and the Blazers have a fuller squad than most of those fringe teams. A lot of players sitting out. I mean, I don't think there's any team that's set up near as bad as, say, Brooklyn, but I'm not gonna say Memphis is gonna. I don't see Memphis hanging on to that number 8 seed. I think Portland's gonna come in with a vengeance, hungry. They've got a really healthy squad right now. That just makes most sense to me. So another thing to talk about this week, Michael Bennett retired, defensive end, most notably for the Seattle Seahawks. Had quite the storied career, though. Obviously, people know him also as the brother of Martellus Bennett, former tight end of the Bears and the Patriots. But Michael Bennett played, let me see here, make sure I get the right one here. Played for the Buccaneers. He played for the Eagles, the Seahawks, Patriots, and the Cowboys. Super Bowl champion. He won that storied Super Bowl 48, the one where Seattle completely torched, Peyton Manning and sent him home. One of my favorite Super Bowls ever, because the Broncos got absolutely annihilated with my favorite, because Chargers don't have one. With my favorite one to watch, obviously, being Super Bowl 22 with Doug Williams. But yeah, I mean, he was a wonderful elite DN, oftentimes top of his game. And that first year we came to Seattle after, because in 09, I believe 09, he got waived, and then he got signed by the Buccaneers, played, and then got a first. Let me see here. Signed with the Seahawks in 2013. That first season that he was with Seattle was when they won that Super Bowl. But he main sorry, wow, I'm talking weird. He remained a really stalwart on that front seven. Him and Cliff Averill and Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright. I mean, not enough people talk about how tough that front seven was with the Legion of Boom. We all talk about the secondary. I mean, and how could you not? I mean, Chancellor and Sherman and Thomas, Brandon Browner, that first year, and then of course, guys. I always liken them to like the Four Horsemen, because I'm a wrestling nerd. I always used to say, okay, like Sherman's like the Ric Flair, and then you've got Cam Chancellor's Arn Anderson, and Earl Thomas would be Tully Blanchard, and then you have that revolving fourth door, who like Brandon Browner's Ole Anderson, and then Byron Maxwell would be like, I don't know, Barry Windham, and you just keep going with that, whoever's there. I always thought, I mean, I'm a total fucking nerd, but that's always how I saw it. But yeah, it's really cool. He's obviously he played good 11 years. So congrats to Michael Bennett for retiring happy. 69 and a half sacks, 259 tackles over the course of his career, and just a big part of that front seven of Seattle that just, I don't think, even to this day, I don't think they get enough credit. So really, really cool here. I gotta look, because I had my notes for what I was going to talk about on the show yesterday. The Washington football team, as Pat McAfee likes to call them, the Washington football TBDs, our football team name TBDs. They're essentially that right now. They have agreed to go by the name Washington Football Team for the upcoming season. Essentially, the uniforms, the colors, everything are going to remain the same. The only thing that's going to change is they're going to take the Redskin decal off the side of the helmet. They're going to go with a number decal on the side of the helmet. And it sounds more and more like the process of picking a new name is going to take a lot longer than we thought, as far as the trademarks and all that ballyhoo that's going to go on there. In the meantime, they're going to just progress forward. And I think they did this. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Obviously, I love shitting on Dan Snyder, but I think this is the move for right now. Washington, and then even in the word mark, it's, Washington football team, but you keep that lineage there. 1932. Only thing here that's changing is a name. We're not sacrificing any lineage. All these guys that played in this uniform, that gave their life to this game, or at least years of their life to this game, those memories are still to be preserved. One of my main things that I was wondering is, obviously Nike and them, they're working to take Redskins related stuff off shelves, off the, off sale, all of that. And my main thing is, what are they going to do as far as revenue for legacy players? Meaning, when you go and buy jerseys, for instance, I'm a Chargers fan, and we don't have a ton of notable past players, retired numbers, anything like that. But there are a few: Junior Seau, LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates, that if I wanted to, I could go buy, even though they're not playing right now. I could go on to Chargers NFL Shop, whatever, and buy one of their jerseys. See, it's like Seahawks. One in every 5 Seahawks fans has a Steve Largent jersey. I'm not joking either. But with the Redskins, how are they going to go about that? Because I want to say some of their jerseys do have the word mark. Do they just sell older looking jerseys with the old players' names? Darryl Green, Santana Moss, those guys. Do they just sell them without the word mark? What's the process going to be there as far as preserving that older uniform? And keeping them up. So, those memories of those players and people who want to represent those players, um, what's the process going to be there as far as revenue and everything else? I assume they're just going to keep selling older school looking jerseys and just take the word mark off. But it's something to it's it, it's one of those things that on the surface I don't think gets thought about or gets brought up. But it's definitely something to look at. I mean, they've had tremendous players in the past. Just because the last 20 years haven't been all that nice to them, they've had tremendous players. I mean, Daryl Green. I will fight anybody who tells me Daryl Green's not a top 3 corner. There. I don't know. It's something to think about. But I think they did the right thing. If they say they go with the Washington football team name all season, that's going to be an interesting year. But they've done it in a nice way of preserving the legacy of that team, the legacy of that name, as we kind of move on to whatever they go with. They get a whole season with this crew to see what they want to be, get a trademark filed out, pick a name out of a hat, whatever the hell they have to do. They get a whole season now to decide, figure out what changes they need to make to the uniforms, if any changes are going to be made to the uniforms, colors, helmets, how far of a rebrand, how far do they want to take this? Obviously, right now, not too crazy. But is this just a move to keep people pacified, or is this a move to show that, hey, we've been backed in a corner, and things are, as things change, they're going to stay the same too. Who knows? We'll see, but it's something to look at. It's something to think about. Another one I wanted to look at. So, lots of teams in the bubble have been doing exhibition games. Just friendly little skirmishes, just kind of going back and forth and what have you. People kind of getting their bench some time and figuring out, what they want to do. And the Nuggets, Bull, son of Manute Bull, I believe he's tied all-time tallest player in the NBA. And Bull, I believe, is among, I think he's the tallest player on the Nuggets. I could be wrong, but he's 7'2". Bull played a hell of a game in that skirmish, came up with a double-double, and immediately got randomly selected for a drug test. They immediately were like, yeah, you don't normally do that. I mean, good on him for being on top of it, I guess. From everything that I've seen, I haven't seen any evidence that Bull was playing with anything less than, just one hell of, some moxie. But yeah, I honestly think that this is a guy. He's just such an athletic big man, and they got him as a steal. I mean, he was obviously an injury concern just because of how big he is. Just a hell of a big man, 7'2", very athletic. He's only 20 years old. And I think that give him a year or two, he's going to be an even scarier part of an already scary Nuggets team. I've already said they're the dark horse this year to win everything. I've seen a lot of people. It's hard not to say, okay, the Lakers are going to win this year. The Bucks, Giannis is going to figure it. He's going to learn from getting eliminated in the playoffs last year. He's coming back with a vengeance. Giannis is hungry. Giannis is going to do this. It's hard to argue with that. But then you look at some of these other teams, these 2 seeds. This Clippers team is sneaky. That record doesn't tell the whole story. Kawhi is among the most dangerous, most gifted defensive players in the league. And if he wins, and he wins an MVP on top of that, I mean, for one, getting the Clippers to a title was no small feat in itself, but it's something to look at. Then you look at the Raptors. The Kawhi-less Raptors actually have a better team than Kawhi's own team right now, or a better record than Kawhi's own team right now. And they're playing tremendous defensive ball. Pascal Siakam gets better every time he laces him up. It's Serge Ibaka. That's a scary defensive team. And then you get to, you get further, you get to the 3 seeds, and that's the 2 young squads that I think 2 years, 3 years could meet in the finals together. And that's Denver and Boston. And Denver, if Jokic slimmed down, obviously we talked about it in this offseason. Jokic lost like 50 pounds, 60 pounds, something crazy like that. Then he had COVID, and then he came back from COVID. If Jokic has a full tank this season, or in this 8-game interim and all that, I mean, the guy was already, as built like a tank. The guy was just gliding like he's skating on ice. And once he hits the paint, he's like an ice skater out there. And he like some sick mix of like a bulldozer on ice skates, if that makes any sense. And he just drives through the paint with such little effort and gets points, gets a bucket like that. I'm eager to see how he plays with this dramatic slim down, this dramatic transformation. And then you got guys, sharpshooters like Jamal Murray. Now you've got young talent like Bol, 20 years old, 7'2". They could win it all this year. But I think in the next 3 to 5 years, with how young this team is, they're going to perennially be in the conversation. And then I don't want to jinx it. I'm just saying it's going to be so hard to mess this team up. I like the Heat. I think the Heat are dark horses. I think Jimmy Butler, I really love what he's been doing with this squad. And they've got a lot of young pieces there too. Boston is a team I think that could be meeting up there too. Jason Tatum's really, Kemba Walker is a nice veteran presence, but Jason Tatum's really kind of coming to the zone with this team. And he's a young kid with a very, very high ceiling. I like the way that he plays. He seems to get better in that Pascal Siakam way. He seems to get better every time he steps onto the court. I'm really excited for some damn basketball. But yeah, no, Bol, they kind of picked him out of a lineup. They said, he doesn't normally put up double doubles like that. Well, he's playing G League right now, and got to go test him, but doesn't seem like that test has done anything. So, thank goodness. And yeah, so good for him there. Here, let's see another lineup here in the bubble. LeBron is basically calling out Michael Carter Williams to his teammates, and MCW can clearly hear it. He says, quote, "He's all drive, no shoot. Number 7 is all drive." Is that not the story of his career, though? You remember Michael Carter Williams, when he came into the league, he was rookie of the year, and he was some sort of a phenom for Philadelphia. In the infancy of the process, before Embiid and Ben Simmons and those guys really kind of came out and started showing. Michael Carter Williams was the first player there that people were kind of turning their heads at, going, "Oh shit, okay, here we go, here we go, guys." But he just a guy that gets points. There's not really much else aside from that. He peaked with his first game. He's a one-dimensional player. So I like that LeBron is kind of in this state of mind where he's like, fuck it, I'll call him out, whatever. He's LeBron freaking James. Who cares? I love seeing this stuff. And I hope this is the kind of stuff that we get to hear in the bubble. Obviously, they might pipe in fan noise, but I really hope we just get to see and hear just all the shit talk in the world. Wow, Jacob, Bul's the future of the NBA. I agree, man. I agree, my brother. And I'm just so excited to see him kind of come in and fill his dad's shoes. And I think he'll wind up in the long run, if he keeps up doing what he's doing, I think he could wind up being a better player than his dad. And to anybody that hasn't watched Manute Bol go out and play, go look up any Manute Bol footage you can. The guy sticks out like a sore thumb on the court because he's so tall, but he's got the proportions, and I mean this with all due respect, he's got the proportions of a stick insect. He's got these long arms with these really long fingers. Even his 3-point shot is hilarious. He was a surprisingly accurate 3-point shooter, but that 3-point shot is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. He just takes it and he throws it like a goalie. He's like, it's so funny. He was also part of like the memeiest team of all time. I believe it was like the late 80s, early 90s. Washington Bullets had both Manute Bol and Muggsy Bogues. You get the all-time tallest player in the NBA and the all-time shortest player in the NBA. And you put them on the same team together, so you get all the blocks and all the steals, but like only some of the points. Before doing crazy stuff like that was a thing, Washington was like, throw all the spaghetti at the wall and we'll see what sticks. No, I love it. I wish I could have seen that like as it happened, because it's such a silly idea, but it's so cool at the same time. Like it makes me as a basketball fan glad that something that silly happened, if that makes sense. Oh man, I'm just loving that there's basketball happening in the bubble right now. It's wonderful. Zion Williamson is in the middle of what will be a 4-day quarantine, and he'll be able to rejoin the Pelicans on Tuesday. A league source tells me New Orleans plays in the NBA's first official game back on Thursday night, so he's going to get in there right on the cusp of it, which is good, because without him, I worry for those Pelicans, because I keep saying I think the Blazers have the best shot at knocking the Grizzlies out for that 8th seed. But I really want to see the Pelicans in there. I really want to see Zion, this phenomenal, well-built kid that everybody has crowned as the next guy. I want to see that first year, that rookie playoff match with the old guard, the original kid of the 2000s in LeBron James taking on the new kid in Zion. And then you have the storyline, AD versus his old team. And then you get that, all those cast-offs from the Lakers that got sent in that trade, Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart and Brandon Ingram and Julius Randle. All those guys that are going to be, they're going to have a fire in their belly. That's a storyline I want. I don't think it's a storyline we're going to get. I think Portland absolutely has the best chance to get in there. I think Portland has the best shot at beating the Lakers in a first-round upset. But the storyline, you'll know if to anybody who is a conspiracy theorist out there, if you think that the NBA is scripted, you'll know it if the Pelicans get in. That's all I'm saying. I want it. I want it, Skylar, because I see you in the chat. I want it, but I'm telling you right now, it's not. It probably won't happen. But I'm out here. I'm out here backing your team. Oh man, it looks like Anthony Davis took a nasty hit in the face, and he seemed to leave the floor. But I don't get any tweet or any evidence of that. So who knows? Maybe it didn't happen. Maybe they were erasing it, making sure it never existed. Sounds like Rui Hachimura is lighting it up with the Wizards in some of these exhibition games. That's a guy that played for Gonzaga, first Japanese-born NBA player to be taken in the draft, I believe. That's a guy. I didn't watch him much in college, but Brady was certainly aware of him, and he was excited to see him get drafted. And maybe he'll be a guy that can do big things for Washington. They're a team that seems to be stuck in like some sort of salary cap driven monotony, some weird stuff there. Obviously, John Wall's got just a bogus contract there, but yeah, it is what it is. It says, let's see, Pelicans, Brandon Ingram and Josh Hart each had minor dental procedures today. They were not at shoot around and will miss tonight's scrimmage. Should be back for Thursday though. So hopefully, I want to see all these teams. I mean, they've had all this time in the world to rest. I want to see all these teams just at their top, at their best. I really hope these squads aren't going to be as rusty as they could be. I really want to see just everybody playing real hard. Let's see here. Oh, NFL. I had one I wanted to talk about that I saw. Where is it now? Here we go. This is a bit of news that I've been waiting for. This happened 6 hours ago. Chargers and first-round quarterback Justin Herbert working to finalize his 4-year, fully guaranteed, roughly $26.6 million contract. One that comes with a 5th-year option. The expectation is that it will be done soon. Thank God. I've been getting worried sick that we weren't going to get anything figured out anytime soon. I think the only rookie we've signed is Alohi Gilman, which was our 6th-round pick. Oh no, that's not true. We just signed our 2nd first-round pick, Kenneth Murray, 4-year rookie contract, $13 million. He'll sign when he passes his physical. Done deal as of 2 hours ago. Justin Herbert, he has signed his deal as well. KJ Hill just signed his rookie contract. About damn time we're getting everybody signed up. So I think we're just waiting on Joe Reed and Josh Kelly. And we'll have everybody signed up and ready to go. I think this is the crop of rookies that I'm most excited for in years as a whole. Like Justin Herbert's going to be kind of a sit and stash, kind of a wait type of player. But Kenneth Murray's a guy that can come out and start immediately. KJ Hill has a chance to be the number 3 receiver on the team. Joe Reed's going to immediately be the top return man. Alohi Gilman's going to be kind of a special teams ace since we let Nick Zubnar go. I'm really excited. And I think Josh Kelly's going to be a great 3rd down, punch it in 1 yard kind of back. Got to stay hydrated. Got to drink more water. Drink more water or you might die. That's what Mick Jenkins always says. Let's see. What else? Any other cool stuff come out today? Bull, Michael Bennett now. Well, let's take a look at baseball. Let us take a look at the baseball results. See what happened here. We had some games. Baseball came back day before yesterday. We were kind of keeping up with some of it at work. It's just so good to have sports back. It's such a wonderful feeling. I did see that the Dodgers, just annihilated the Giants. But then the Giants came back and they beat them today. So because I think the Dodgers beat them 8-1. Thing is about baseball is they're going to just be on they're just going to have to speed through a bunch of this stuff with the 60-game season. Even baseball seems to go lightning fast anyway. Yankees beat the Nats 4-1. Dodgers beat the Giants 8-1. That was on the 23rd. And then yesterday we had our first kind of full scheduled day. Mets 1-0 over the Braves. Reds 7-1 over the Tigers. Blue Jays 6-4 over the Rays. Marlins 5-2 over the Phillies. Cubs 3-0 over the Brewers. Indians 2-0 over the Royals. Red Sox 13-2 over the Orioles. Rangers 1-0 over the Rockies. Padres 7-2 over the Diamondbacks. Cardinals 5-4 over the Pirates. Astros 8-2 over the Mariners. That's unfortunate. Dodgers 9-1 over the Giants. That's 2 in a row for the Dodgers. Athletics 7-3 over the Angels. But then I'm seeing today that the Giants caught the Dodgers 5-4. And the Astros beat the Mariners again. Just waylaid them. Skylar, I thought you said that the 60-game season was going to be beneficial for Seattle because they win they win a lot in their first 60 games. Oh man, good times. Let me see here. Some more news here. I don't even really have any wrestling news either. It's been pretty stagnant, pretty lackluster. A lot of former WWE guys. When part of the big Black Monday thing or Black Wednesday, whatever it was called, when everybody just got canned, a lot of those guys have signed with Impact Wrestling. Impact recently had their Slammiversary pay-per-view. It was pretty damn good. But yeah, Gallows, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, EC3, Eric Young, Heath Slater, and Kurt Hawkins have all officially signed with Impact. Obviously, Kurt Hawkins going under his real name, Brian Myers. I'm eager to see what happens. Impact is, they kind of quieted down for a while. They seemed to have some kind of a deal done with Impact, or not Impact, MLW, where they were kind of sharing talent. Something happened there where they don't do that anymore. Because I used to watch MLW like every week, and I would see guys like, oh, here's the Lucha Brothers and Ace Austin and all these guys, and then they quit being used. But yeah, they quieted down, and now they're kind of shooting up to being a number 3 option in the States, which is awesome. I think All Elite is still number 2. And like Ring of Honor was number 2 for a little while. And, then Impact kind of overtook them again. Their Ring of Honor's management is so shit that I'm surprised they're still around. But yeah, I'm just glad indie wrestling is still in a good state. Makes me happy. Let's see. Yeah. God, this is probably going to be a short one. See, a big part of the show is the discussion. But we don't have a ton to talk about, so might be 40. I've been going 42 minutes actually. I mean, damn, it's not terrible, but it might be about time to wrap it up. Let me see what else I have here, and then if there's nothing crazy, I think we'll chit jam out of here. Oh, actually, New York Knicks and Tom Thibodeau are finalizing a 5-year deal to make him the franchise's next coach. I think that's a tremendous move. I think that people will remember Tom Thibodeau was a big deal when he was coaching Chicago in the 2010s. People will remember him with those the Derrick Rose years, Derrick Rose's prime. Really, I mean, it was really kind of an era that really wasn't his. It wasn't his fault when they got bad. You can't call Derrick Rose's knees, shattering like glass. Well, not the first time anyway. Obviously, he goes to the Timberwolves, kind of has a bit of a letdown campaign there, but yeah, I don't know. If we're just leaning into that great tenure with that great talent with the Chicago Bulls, obviously Rome wasn't built in a day, but I give him a better shot to a better shot to help push the Knicks in the right direction than most coaches that could have been up for that job. So, I mean, man, it just about anything is better than what the Knicks have been lately, right? I mean, you've got some young talent on that team, but you don't have much. I mean, RJ Barrett is a very promising rookie, but he spent his whole college career more or less being overshadowed by the golden boy, in Zion Williamson. Aside from that, I mean, it's a lot of old dudes. There's a lot of young kids or old vets like Taj Gibson, Wayne Ellington, but I'm seeing a lot of kids here that are younger than me. I don't know. Julius Randle, man. I mean, he'll be kind of a good part of that team, I think, in the early going. But it's going to take a lot to unfuck this squad, I think. I don't know. Fingers crossed for him, though. I don't like to see teams fail, especially teams that were good. You hate to see it. back in the the 80s, the 90s, even parts of the 2000, the Knicks were kind of perennial. Or I should say 2000s. I should say like 2010s, early 2010s. Knicks were kind of perennially in the playoffs, but he's kind of their owner is kind of the Dan Snyder of the NBA, James Dolan, who's just terrible. He's just awful, but I don't know. I don't know enough about him to go on a full scale rant about him, and I don't need to do that. SB Nation made a video on Dolan taking over for the Knicks and the Knicks collapsing. You can totally watch that because they're wonderful. But no, Tom Thibs. I mean, we'll see what happens with the Knicks here. I think it's any news like that is promising. I mean, it's going to be met with some skepticism, as it should, but it's promising. Let's see here. NBA is investigating Clippers guard Lou Williams' activities while on excused absence to assess the length of his re-quarantining process, sources tell The Athletic NBA. Sources told ESPN that Williams has been interviewed by NBA security about his whereabouts while he was away from campus and told them he did go to Magic City Gentlemen's Club for a short time on Thursday night. Oh, Lou. Let's see. Thibodeau's hiring will mean millions in savings for the Wolves, who are still on the hook for one more year of his contract. Okay. All right. Well, I think I've covered a ton of the news we've had this week, a ton of the notable news the last 2 days, a lot of signings, a lot of the rookies, at least the Chargers rookies getting signed. And I believe we had Chase Young ink his contract either yesterday or the day before. That was a big deal there. And we had the big trade, the big Seattle trade today. Gotta love it. And honestly, a trade like that Jamal Adams trade shows you I'm really excited for football. I mean, just look at the NFC West. Every team that isn't the Rams made a tremendous trade. You got Trent Williams going to the to the 49ers. You've got DeAndre Hopkins going to the Cardinals. Now Jamal Adams goes to the Seahawks. I mean, that is a literal arms race, to try and see who can fight to get to the top of that division. And you love to see it. It's not unlike the AFC West. I mean, here soon, I would say right now you've got the AFC and the NFC West. That's the two most competitive divisions in football, period. I think the Broncos and the Chargers are closer to playoffs than they are away from playoffs. The Raiders, I don't see them as a great team, but I'm not crazy enough to doubt John Gruden either. I don't know. With 7 playoff spots, who's to say? Who's to say, Well, anyway, this has kind of been a quiet show, kind of been a boring show, but it's a show. And I didn't think we were going to have a show this week. So, yeah, well, we will be back at it 6 days from today. We will be back at 11 a.m. Pacific time, because then we got to go watch the basketball game. So thank you for anybody that came, chatted, watched the stream. I really appreciate it. Shorter show than normal, but I just even if it was a solo show, after kind of the stop and not being able to get one out yesterday, I wanted to get something out there because there was so much news this week that I knew who knows what we're going to get in the next coming week, and if we were going to be able to cover it all and how much was going to stay relevant and all this other stuff. So I'm just glad I got to come in and talk about it. Anyway, next week, 11 a.m. if you're wanting to live stream with us. Otherwise, this episode, next episode, just like any episode, are going to be up on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Music, Stitcher Radio, wherever you stream your podcast. Podbean, if you just want to go to our Podbean site, that's longshotsportscast.podbean.com. Like us on Facebook if you haven't already. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can keep getting these stream notifications. If you want to hop into the live chat's always open. We love to hear takes from people that are watching the show live with us. Live as we do it, as we talk, maybe, catch us when we fuck something up like I did on the Redskins rant that I addressed in the video description. If you watched last episode, Dan Snyder gonna get it. So for my compadres that are not here and everybody here in the city of Longview, Washington, I want to wish you all a wonderful night and the rest of your weekend, your respective weekend, a wonderful week, and we will see you next Friday. Take it easy, guys.